For those listeners who are just listening, first off, I'm so sorry. Um, you just missed what was essentially the opening credits of a True Detective season that Justin has created the Family Stone trailer out of. Very nice, very nice.
Thank you.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the Uncultured Cinematic Universe. We are the podcast where two friends show each other movies, shows, and anything else that they need to see, hear, or experience. I'm your host, Joe, and I'm joined as always by the uncultured Justin.
Hello.
Today we're asking the age-old question, is it justified to terrorize a somewhat innocent woman if you have a terminal disease? The 2005 divisive Christmas rom-com, The Family Stone.
I want to get into the divisiveness of this movie.
Here's the deal. This
Let's break it
always
down.
comes up on Twitter. I'm going to send you like my favorite tweets that I find about
Yeah.
this movie because people either love this movie as like a holiday classic or they fucking hate this movie. Where do you stand, Justin?
Okay, so yes, I'm in the uncultured seat. Never saw this before. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, and
You didn't know anything.
No, and I'm trying to remember back in the time when this movie came out, and I was 18. I was doing 18-year-old shit. I don't remember this causing a blip on my radar. So I knew nothing about it, about this stacked cast, about the SJP, coming off the hot heels of Sex and the City. And then it's just this biting, weird 24-hour whirlwind of shitty people being shitty to each other.
They're so mean. This family is so mean. Spoiler alert, the Family Stone, mean.
Mean. I mean, okay, it makes sense. They're not like the family feathers, the feathers.
Yeah.
They're not the feather stones. They're just stones. They're hard. They're mean.
So many like various meanings to the title of this movie because like Family Stone, obviously the name of the family in question, they are the Stones. Family Stone, they're hard to like break into, as Sarah Jessica Parker finds. Family Stone, the ring that is kind of central to this movie. There you go. Get that rock.
Get that rock, mama.
Family Stone, some of them are on drugs some of the time.
Some of them are on drugs, you're right. And the parents are okay with it. The parents are okay with it. I know. Yeah, like people being shitty to each other just cuz, but I enjoyed the movie because I didn't expect it. Anything to happen, but it definitely is a weird pill to swallow and just be okay with a lot of weird things happening.
Yeah, I sent you a text as you were watching this movie. Like I wanted you to mark the points when you realized what type of movie this was. And so we're going to talk about this, but I want to know when you realized, okay, this is a rom-com. When you realized, oh no, this is like a death movie. When you realized it's a Christmas Switch movie. Ooh, this movie is so many things.
It is.
And it's so special to me.
I love that I want to hear about that, and I have a hunch, and I'll give it to you in a second. Yeah, so it starts out where it is kind of like a get to know the family kind of movie, and that's going to be the central kind of thing that you think is going to happen, is that she's this weird, uppity, on the spectrum kind of person who is just like clashing at every corner at every opportunity, and it's just going to be like a meet the Fockers, meet the parents kind of a thing. But then as soon as that shot happens where Luke Wilson looks up the stairs and sees Sarah Jessica Parker coming down, I was like, oh, it's one of those movies. Oh no. And then it's like, what secret is mom keeping? What's wrong with mom? Has she been like cheating on dad and dad knows about it? Or all this stuff. It's like, oh no, it's a death movie. Okay.
If we talk about this any further, it's going to get so confusing until we do the plot description. So I may move that up in the list and make you do that first thing. But before we do anything, this is the Uncultured Cinematic Universe. I am back from my little Thanksgiving hiatus.
That's right.
Justin, how was Interstellar? I had so much fun listening.
Good. I know. First, and also thank you for sending over your little video snippet. Again, Haddison Stitches.
From Beyond the Black Hole, yes.
Yeah, where everything's totally fine. Um, that one was fun. I love reviewing and doing movies with Ryan. They're great because there's so many like good deep hits that she hasn't seen.
Yeah.
Um, and this one is one of those where I almost put this in the bucket of like you don't need to go back and watch it again because like one and done, it's pretty good. It is so emotionally devastating, you don't need to go back and do it again. However, I feel like it was important for her to watch this because we are parents.
Mm.
And there's so many good, deep things that are said and like themes that pop up. It made for a good discussion and it just made for a good uh uh kind of recalibrator of just like, oh man, if I could time travel to spend more time with my kid, I totally would. Um
I
and it was
I
great.
love that you guys really dove into like the parental themes of Interstellar. But when it came down to like the ultimate question of like what would you do in this situation, you were both immediately like, no, we'd stay on Earth. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like,
We
oh,
wouldn't leave the kids.
yeah, oh. But I mean, there's a whole other discussion about that, and it's in the episode. Go back and listen to episode 31
Hmm,
on Interstellar, where we talk about
31.
that. I know
Yeah,
we're in our 30s. We're in our early 30s.
we've switched it up now. So now I'm going to be the one to introduce every mini series with my episode, and then you'll end every mini series. We've
Yes.
flipped the coin finally.
Yes.
You got it on me.
Yeah. So,
Um,
yeah, we are in firmly in Christmas season, and I'm glad that you took the reins for this one to kind of really just set the bar for Christmas season.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
nothing is sacred except for family, and even then, you know, it's still kind of wishy washy.
This one of my first notes is this is a movie about love and total bitches. So I'm really happy to talk about it.
The
Um,
only note I have for this
uh-huh,
movie, because I'm
uh-huh.
just going to go off the cuff, and that's what I usually do for episodes. The
Totally.
only note I wrote down: almost everyone in this movie is insufferable, except for Coach Dad and Thad.
Mm,
Those are
mm-mm.
the all stars, and who kind of ground the movie. Everyone else is just like the worst.
This will kind of come up in the end games that I have planned, but I have thoughts on Coach Dad. That I will agree with, but Coach Dad, I've maybe watched too much Parenthood, where he's one of the central characters, Craig T.
Mm,
Nelson,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and something about him as like the patriarch of the family, I don't love it. He's kind of too self righteous. Anyway,
Yeah.
why don't we get into the plot description so listeners can have an idea what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Um, I'll give you a minute to describe what the hell's happening in the Family Stone.
Hmm.
Don't
Sure.
get caught up in the minutia. You better sprint towards the end the whole time.
I'm gonna get out of the opening scene in
Yeah,
seconds.
you better be 30 minutes in 5 seconds. Okay.
Yep.
1 minute starting now.
The Family Stone centers around the Stone family. Dermot, I can't remember his name, but Everett is bringing his girlfriend, lover to meet his family for the first time for Christmas. Sarah Jessica Parker, and she is rough to get along with, you guys. She says the wrong thing almost like from the outset throughout like the whole first 12 hours. It culminates in like racist shit, some gay bigot shit, and it's like she's the worst person in the world, and you're siding with the family, but also they're pretty terrible too. Mom's hiding a secret. She's secretly dying of cancer, but she doesn't want to tell the kids because it's her last Christmas. Oh no. But then Luke Wilson sees Sarah Jessica Parker and is like, I want some of that. And then Everett sees her sister and he's like, I want some of that. So then they do the old switcheroo, big misunderstanding, but then everyone's just okay with it. They don't get married, but then they just swap partners and it's no big deal. And then Diane Keaton dies at the end, and it's very sad. The end.
You did it. That's essentially the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
in a nutshell.
yeah, let's
Jump
get
right
into
in.
this. What did you know about this movie going into it?
First of all, hold on. I want to go back up to the top. So I mentioned that a couple episodes ago when we do the trailers, I'm not doing a rip straight from YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just grabbing clips and I'm doing I'm doing the soundtrack myself.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I could come up with, I was like, what song lends itself well to this movie. And I couldn't think of a song specifically, but I was like, it's Fleetwood Mac, and it's something from Rumors. So it has to be The Chain. Joe, big shout out to Joe for being a huge Fleetwood Mac nerd.
Hell yeah.
So I did
That
that,
fucking
and
rocks.
so I knew that Joe would love it, and I was like, I'm gonna do the intro, and I'm gonna make it like a dramatic cut, and then do the outro because that outro fucking rules.
I
Um,
mean, it fits this movie so well because there are such wild swings between like slapstick comedy and like heartfelt emotion and sadness.
yeah, and then
Um,
it's just about just like people cheating on each other and breaking each other's hearts, and then just living together and still making music or whatever it is, whatever parallels you want to draw to that fucking album. But
I want to
yeah,
I want to make it clear it is okay for you to not like this movie. I we said it from the start. This movie is divisive. One of my big thoughts towards the end here is like I don't know why I love this movie, and I really want to explore why.
I know why
Um,
you love this movie. And I'll tell you right now, I'm just going to jump into that.
do it.
Uh, so like 5 minutes in, the family starts arriving. You know, Thad and Patrick show up, and then all the other siblings and stuff. And I was like, or Ryan said this. She goes, "Is this what it's like? Is this what it's like at Joe's house during Christmas when just all 19 kids show up with their partners and it just showing up?" I was like, "I bet you that's why Joe likes this movie. It feels like home."
Listen, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
Um, it is very humbling to see this family portrayed as like a really close knit family. And then you realize, oh, they're maybe just like kind of codependent on each other and very resistant to change. And so
sure.
they hate any outsiders and they think that they're the best.
Here's where I'm gonna just jab my knife right into that argument.
Oh, God.
They don't hate outsiders. They just hate, maybe that's a strong word. They just hate Sarah Jessica Parker because she is the worst. She is the literal worst. Uh, right out the gate, she is stiff. You can tell she's not gonna fit in, and she says the wrong things, and it's so groan worthy. All the things that she says is just like, ugh, girl, you gotta stop. You need to shut your mouth.
It is classically someone who just like doesn't know when to stop talking, and so she kind of like nervously talks. And obviously like there's the climactic dinner scene in this movie that is so horrific,
I know.
where they bring up like gay kids, and she obviously says the wrong thing. I love that.
Over and over, and she doubles down.
Yeah, she says something along the lines of, "Oh, why would you want to have gay kids?" And you can almost see that her heart's in the right place, with in terms of like not wanting uh your kids to like face burdens that they shouldn't have to.
Right.
And then she just does not know how to dig her way out of that hole, and the family completely eats her alive.
Yes,
And
as they should.
what what my thesis is about this movie, though, is that Everett is kind of the villain here,
Yeah, he
and I want to
sucks.
know your thoughts on this because
He fucking sucks, dude.
he leaves her to the wolves like from the
The
get go.
start. Yeah, he is not, which I mean, it makes sense. She is a terrible person, not really worth defending. So I get his hesitation to be like, "Oh man, you guys need to back off on her." He only does that out of like owns his own self-preservation. You know, he's like, "Think
Hmm.
about how I feel." You know, like you need to back off of her, but it's like it's bringing it back to him. She's not worth defending. He should not have brought her home. He should have dumped her at uh, Hong Kong or whatever. She's the worst, but also he too is the worst because he immediately fawns over her much taller sister seconds from seeing her.
Yeah, you really wonder like how Claire Danes and Sarah Jessica Parker are sisters in this movie, but you can kind of see a dynamic where like, okay, Sarah Jessica Parker has to be like the overachieving one, and she doesn't really know how to relate to people, and so she thinks that like being a good businesswoman or being a woman of the city is enough to impress people. She takes Amy out to the best restaurant that she knows.
And Amy's
And
like, "Fuck you doing?"
it's not enough because she doesn't know how to like be a a person around these people. She's an alien in this movie.
Yeah, she can't
And
relate to them in any capacity.
she yeah, and she has a bit of an arc in this movie. I actually think Sarah Jessica Parker is great in this. But you see towards the end where she kind of starts to stand up for herself. She kind of actually gets more and more annoyed with the family and like stops trying to please them. And that's where you can see like they kind of start to like her more.
Yeah, we're like,
Because she's
yes, that's
like
what we want. You're being authentic.
finally loosening up and like I love this is such like a tidbit, but I love how her hair tells a story in this movie
When it's up
where
and so tight.
oh my god, it's pulled back 80 feet beyond her head.
Yeah.
And like it's like the facelift in Mrs. Doubtfire when he has like the strings on.
Yeah.
Um and then as you go through the movie, through some series of hijinks, the bun becomes a little messier. Then it's like fully down. And then in the flash forward sequence at the end,
It's just,
we're all great. Everyone's got amazing hair. Everyone looks amazing. Diane
yeah.
Keaton's dead. Um,
Yeah, may she rest in pieces. Yeah, crazy stuff. So like as soon as Claire Danes' character comes in though, the family's like, oh, you can automatically tell this person has their shoulders relaxed
mhm.
and they're just easier to get along with because she comes in and they're like crowded around her when because she hurt herself falling off of the fucking bus like a dope. Um, and she's just like easily getting along with. And then when there was one scene where Everett comes in and he's like, I need to go find her, and she's like, I'll come with you, but she's like snuggling with the nephew or the niece,
Yeah.
and it's like she's a part of the family the whole time.
Like you can tell that she knows she is a normal person who knows how to act in
She's
this
a normal
scenario.
person. Yeah.
Her relationship with Everett we'll get into, that's a whole other thing. But like Sarah Jessica Parker's Meredith character clearly doesn't know how to act in this scenario, but the family kind of punishes her for that instead of trying to, at the very least, like extend the hand and meet her halfway. Because Rachel McAdams is like poisoning them towards her before she even walks into the door.
That is
So it's
true.
ultimately a family that is so impenetrable, but really I'm not going to say thinks highly of themselves, but it is considered very much a good thing to be in the good graces of the Stone family. I
Absolutely.
feel in
Yeah.
this movie world.
Yeah. Cause like, I can't remember the actor's name, but like Mark Brandanowitz,
Yeah,
um, is a great character
mm.
in this, and he just effortlessly gets along with the family. I mean, obviously there's
Brad.
history there. Brad, that's right. Obviously he gets along with the family because there's history, and you know he popped Amy's cherry, all that kind of stuff. Oh man, I should have done a cherry beverage. That would have been funny.
Well, stay tuned.
Missed opportunity. Okay, good, perfect. But yeah, I think they aren't unnecessarily mean to her. I think that is a family that is tight knit, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit of codependence there, maybe a little bit of resistance to change, sure. But I think they see a weakness
Mm-hmm.
and they try to exploit it and poke it, but in like a fun, silly kind of way.
They
Yeah.
you can tell they very much don't like phoniness or like any form of like emotional dishonesty. Like you can tell when Everett comes in and at the beginning of the movie and he's like this big Manhattan business guy, they're like, this isn't you, like loosen your tie, what are you doing?
Hmm.
And you can tell that they see her as kind of like one of the reasons he's like that, like why have you changed our Everett, our perfect boy?
Yes.
And they can also sense like piranhas that she is so uncomfortable and projecting like this steel wall defense in front of her where again like she doesn't know how to show her full self, maybe because she doesn't even know her full self, and so they are drawn to that and can't help but attack, because you can this family is so close with each other and they're so comfortable with just like being comfortable with each
Hmm.
other that anyone who's uncomfortable they stick out immediately.
And they call it out because they're so comfortable with it and just being like, "What's your problem? Why'd you make
Yeah.
that face? Why are you going to say that? Like, why would you say that? What are you trying to say?" Like, I get that. Like, what else? What are the other kind of options as a family unit? Like, I guess that's hard to speak to, but like,
Hmm.
if you're in that position, like, do you just go along with this weird robot woman and just like wait till Christmas to be over and just be like, oh, thank God she's gone, or do you just like nestle in the comfort of the family and be like, what's your problem? You should
It's
loosen up.
It's funny. Jonathan can't watch this movie because it stresses him out so much. And he was kind of like walking in and out as I was watching this. And I kind of joked that, like, oh, does he ever feel like the Meredith of, life? Because he has had multiple Christmases at this point with my family. My family's like huge, of course. Um, and I immediately thought about how stupid that was right after I said it, because his strategy when meeting my family is not to be like awkward or holding back. He will instead try to win that scenario
Hmm.
and win over every single person in the family like it's his mission from God. And so he is essentially
Normal.
like the polar opposite of the family stone in completely the other direction. And so I
Yes.
want to see what that movie is like, where like the Stones end up liking Meredith more than Everett, in a way.
Oh, and then they kick him out of the family. Or yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be
yeah,
fun. I was gonna say, yeah, it's impossible to think of Jonathan in that situation because he's so likable and
yeah.
delightful. There's no way. So
No, his default setting is small talk, so he'd be very
yeah,
comfortable with this.
crushes it at family functions. Yeah,
He'd also try to like fuck with them and like unwind their little family dynamics
yeah,
in small ways.
and the Stones would eat that up. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I think you guys for you you should do a Murphy family Christmas card and just make it after the poster of the family stone,
Yeah,
the family Murphy. And
all of us just like incredibly photoshopped against a white background.
yeah, yeah, the family Murph. This movie, I had fun with it because I like that it's a contained story,
Hmm.
but that is also its undoing, um, because it takes place over the course of a day and a half and then a flash
Hmm.
forward.
Yeah, it's
Um,
insane.
it's so fast. It happens so fast. But it's wild to see that like it's this one wild night or whatever, a couple days or something like that of just like pure uncomfortable stuff happening and then just like partner swap, baby.
Yeah, we've covered rom-coms in the past on this show. We've covered When Harry Met Sally, which, like you're saying, like more realistically takes place over the course of like a relationship over years, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this literally is like 36 crazy hours. And I
Yeah.
love that this is a movie that can chalk it up to just like, hey, everyone gets crazy over the holidays. Like anything can happen.
Too much eggnog,
Chris- Christmas Cupid is biting everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
you take one too many knockbacks of Dos Equis at a bar, and then you are just in love with the other Wilson brother.
the other Wilson brother, who looks
Is a
great in this
famous
movie,
is a
by the way,
famous brother. He's
Luke.
a he. My thoughts on Luke Wilson.
Yeah,
He's I don't know. He's obviously like kind of the black sheep a little bit of the family. Um,
I mean, there's a third Wilson brother who we don't even really see
oh,
that
oh,
much.
not that family. The Stone family. Different family. Oh yeah, there's Owen and Luke and
There's a
uh,
third one.
is it
I
is it
can't remember what his name is though.
Chris? There's always a Chris.
Zach? Yeah.
Zach Wilson. Are you thinking of the Hanson brothers? Um, he's kind of the black sheep of the Stone family because he's got like this shaggy air to him. He dresses like Shaggy. He smokes pot, and he's just like super relaxed and like aloof.
He's kind of the most normal one though, in a way. Like he's the most accepting of Meredith, like from the get-go, and you can kind of tell like he sees her more
Mhm.
than anyone else does, which, spoiler alert, they end up together at the end of the movie.
I think they're wrong
Um
for each other. I don't get it. I don't get the attraction, and I don't get the attraction between Everett and uh, Claire Danes.
Well, let me skip ahead to like my big thoughts on this movie. We're going all over the place in this episode. I apologize.
It's all right.
Um, I list out some big thoughts for every episode that I have, kind of like the thesis here. Uh, this is a movie about chemistry,
Yes.
um, and both as a family and as a couple, and how hard chemistry is to fake it if you don't naturally have it. And so
Mm.
I think as a family, this cast has a lot of good chemistry. Like these roles feel very lived in.
Yep.
These like sibling and parental dynamics feel very real.
I would agree with
Um,
that. Yes.
maybe on the couple side of things, it's a little bit more so because you get like Meredith and Everett who have no chemistry. They're from different universes, but they're kind of supposed to have no chemistry because like you're not really supposed to be rooting for them.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
You get Meredith and what's his name? Ben, Luke Wilson, who is the brother. Maybe you have a little bit more chemistry there because like they're not like total freaks, but again, like the time thing is a little bit insane.
Yeah.
Um and then you get Everett and Julie, who is Claire Danes, Meredith's sister, who comes in, and their relationship is insane because you
Yeah.
can tell that they're supposed to fall in love essentially on first sight
Same with
when
the Luke
Everett
Wilson
and
family.
Meredith are still officially dating.
Yeah.
Like they are smitten with each
Hmm.
other.
Hmm.
And so weirdly, I think maybe not weirdly, but like I think the couple with the best chemistry is actually the parents here. So you have like
Mm.
Diane Keaton and Craig T. Nelson, and they kind of have this parental dynamic where she's a little bit more free spirited bohemian, he's a little bit more laid back and quiet, but they're a united front, and they have these like really sweet like emotional moments too, because obviously like in the background of this movie, Diane Keaton's character Sybil has breast cancer that has come back, and the through line is like slowly all of the siblings kind of realizing that it's coming back, and this is maybe their last Christmas with each other.
Yeah.
And then once you realize that, you have to ask yourself, like, how many of the crazy actions and the crazy emotions going around in this movie are because of that, and how much of that is justified then because hey, mom knows that she's dying, we all know that mom's dying, this intruder is trying to like come in on our family, now all of our heckles are raised and stuff like 1,000% more than they usually would be. um, does it make more sense now that you have all of the information?
No. Disagree. Because like you said, they kind of find out little by little
Mhm,
each of the siblings, kind of a thing. Um, but like from the outset, the most hardest, heinous hitting shit kind of happens before they all find out,
mhm,
right? So I don't think it fuels the fire. Maybe subconsciously from the parents' point of view,
mhm.
they're kind of putting out that outward aura because she knows, or Sybil knows that like this is my last Christmas. Maybe I'm going to be a little more protective of my son. He wants my mother's ring. I know he's coming after it. And no, you can't marry this woman because she sucks. So I get that kind of thing, but I don't think it influences their uh, like poking, prodding defensiveness of the family. It
There's an
definitely heightens it, but
Right. Everything
later.
feels heightened because everyone kind of senses like the stakes are a little higher this year. And there's like a really emotional scene that Everett has, like despite how much I hate him, like he has this really emotional scene with Diane Keaton where he's been asking for the ring. He wants to marry Meredith. No one really understands why. Meredith doesn't even understand why. Like, why do you want to marry me? And then Diane Keaton is like, I'm sick and like it's not going to get better even if you get married.
Yeah.
And then he just like totally breaks down. So you can see like everyone has been like on the prowl because this is maybe Sybil's last Christmas and we're not letting Meredith in. Everett is kind of working in the other direction, but for the same reason. Like this is Sybil's last Christmas. Maybe if I get married, I'll cure cancer.
But he
And
didn't know that. Well, maybe that's
I
always kind of in the back of your mind
I think people know that like she's had breast cancer in the
in the past.
past and it's
Sure.
maybe like always on the the horizon a little bit.
Sure. Yeah, that okay, so I that can make sense, but knowing that, like, this is mom's last Christmas, you know, berate this person with impunity is not I don't think that is the driving thing. I think it is their, um, familial connectedness that
Hmm.
makes them, just who they are, and I think it is both great and, again, it is their downfall of just not doing their best job at, like, "What is your problem right now? Why are you What's going on right now? How can we help you relax? Obviously, you're high strung right now. What can we
Hmm.
do to like, that would be the right answer, I think, as a family unit.
Yeah. The movie kind of shows two ends of the spectrum in terms of like, here's a person who's like way too high strung, but then here are people who are way too comfortable with each other, and because of their individual areas they cannot meet in the middle and they don't understand each other.
But
um
again, it's only been 24 hours since they met her, so it's like, give it some time, folks.
okay, so what are some thoughts you had going through this movie? So you said that when the second Luke Wilson sees Meredith, you sensed like some shenanigans are afoot.
Yeah.
Did you realize that it was going to be, wait for it, a double switch that happens once Claire Danes comes into the play?
When she mentions that her sister's coming, I was like, "Oh, okay. There's someone for him now." And they have a similar kind of reaction as soon as she gets off the bus. He's like, "Oh my god. That is the lady for me." And I wanna talk about this before it escapes my brain again. The ending, and then I'll circle back. The ending where she gets on the bus, and he's like, "Stay, like, let's make out a little bit." Because like, I'm not with her anymore. It's no big
It's
deal.
so, as far as Claire Danes knows, he is with her though.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, imagine.
yeah, insane, right? But then the bus pulls away, and then the bus stops, and he runs after the bus, and she's there, and then she's just like, what are you doing for New Year's?" And then he comes back. It is the exact same ending of Cameron Diaz and Jude Law in The Holiday.
I
But mixed also with, Jack Black and Kate Winslet's kinda thing of just like, "What are you doing for New Year's Eve?" Running through the snow. They just ripped that, or I can't remember which movie came first.
The Holiday, I think, was 2006. This one's 2005. So maybe
Ooh,
came first.
but The
I've
Holiday is better.
I've I've seen The Holiday once. Explain your reasoning here. Who ends up with who at the end of The Holiday?
It's just the same, it's not like direct parallels, it's just the same kind of shots and the same kind of things are said.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
Cameron Diaz is, like, driving away in a car, but then she tells the driver to stop, and then she runs back to Jude Law, and then they make out.
yeah.
Um, and then, like, Jack Black and Kate Winslet's character, like, are kind of falling in love with each other, and then he's like, "Hey, what are you doing for New Year's?" And she's like, "I'll be here, no worries." And they just end up together. So it's kind of the same sort of thing, but it is like couple for couple kind of a so okay, pin, done with that. Going back. Yeah, I knew it was a shenanigans were afoot. Luke Wilson sees Sarah Jessica Parker walking down the stairs, and I was like, "Oh, no, no. They're so not right for each other." I don't see any bit of chemistry there between them other
Yeah.
than just, like, him treating her like a person, like a normal person, and her getting drunk and the breaking the walls down. So, like, I don't think that's a good catalyst for creating chemistry. Uh,
The movie tries to justify both couples very quickly, and you can see like where the groundwork is. It's like you're saying, like Luke Wilson is very laid back. He balances out her high strunkedness, and like he takes her out to a bar, and she kind of lets her freak flag fly a little bit.
yeah,
Them then proceeding to like sleep together, but not sleep together, sleep next to each other at that point. She's so clearly comfortable around him, makes no sense at all. She would be freaking out in this scenario if that were the case. Um,
yeah. They were like
maybe it's the
9
pot.
they were like 9, 10 beers deep, and then they smoke a J and pass
Hmm.
out in the car and then later go home, and sleep, next to each other. But then, like, the chemistry forced chemistry between, Everett and Julie, is, again, it's just like one conversation that they
Yeah.
have while they should be looking for Meredith, but they're just casually walking down the street where no one lives. There's
Like,
no cars about, there's no people walking around.
this town is a simulation
Yes.
from Black Mirror. But yeah, like you can see what the writers are doing in terms of like scrambling together and being like, hey, we got 24 hours to make these characters fall in love with each other. Like, what do their motivations go? Everett is really trying to break out of like the corporate world. Julie represents this like artsy girl who's kind of traveling. They're their foundations of their characters are established, like you're saying, over the course of like two conversations. And so we're supposed to believe like immediate chemistry. They're both hotties, so maybe that's enough. And maybe they will get together in 5 days on New Year's. I don't think he knows where she lives, though.
Who lives what? Who doesn't know where who lives?
I don't think Everett knows where Meredith's sister lives.
Oh, right, right. Yeah. It is said off camera. She's like, I'm going back to Bedford,
Yeah,
Connecticut. But
they
yeah,
they
they know
they know
nothing
so
about each
little
other.
about each other. Everett and Meredith are the kind of couple where it's like, do they know each other's middle names? We don't know. They've been together maybe less than a year, and he's like trying to force an engagement. It's insane. So, I mean, these relationships are founded on insane choices. Maybe these kids will work out in the end because we
I
see a year later they're clearly thriving.
They're all thriving. I wanted to see, like, I was like, who's pregnant? Who's married? Who's engaged? They didn't go that deep. Who's got little Sybil Jr., for mom. Oh, you know, uh,
The older sister has a little baby, and then
oh, that's right.
the Thad and his husband have a little baby too.
That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But they don't matter. They're the side characters.
With death comes new life.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was my thing too. It's like, um, everyone had to be put into this pot and forced together to break down walls and show each other's flaws and all this kind of stuff. And Sybil's mom had to die for everyone to get together. So
Hmm.
it's sad, but you know, it all works out in the end.
It is really sad. This is a secret switch rom com. This is a secret death rom com. Um, another one of my big thoughts. Again, this movie is objectively bad. It was criticized for its like insane tonal shifts because you'll have like moments of comedy, and then in the very next scene, it's like this kind of very sad music, very slow, dramatic moment as one of the siblings realizes, oh, the mom is dying. And we only have so much little time left with her. And so you can kind of surf the waves of that maybe a little smoother if you have more time. I don't know. Um, I love it in a way. It kind of just makes me think of like, God, the magic of cinema. We can have this insane story up on the screen that clearly takes place in another universe where people act like this.
I think
Um,
given the cast, um,
mhm,
it has to be not even largely, but a good chunk of it should be comedic, just
mhm,
because they're such recognizable faces, and some have more swings with comedy than others. Um, so it would play to that, but like, yeah, the big tonal shift over of like, I have breast cancer again and I'm dying and here's my scars and let's make out in bed. And like, it's like, oh my God, this is kind of heartbreaking. If it was just that, like a family drama, I don't think it would have been, obviously, it wouldn't have been as enjoyable.
no, no. I mean, the funny parts of this movie are hilarious. I laughed out loud. I always laugh out loud several times during this movie. Obviously, Claire Danes falling off the bus is such a random moment of like slapstick that it always gets me. All of the incredibly awkward Meredith moments where she's like whisking so hard that her whisk is going to go to the center of the earth, like,
Yeah.
and then she realizes that Everett is allergic to mushrooms and she didn't know, and she like screams out, "I didn't know!"
Yeah, as soon as she says that line, I was like, I bet that's one of Joe's favorites. It's like, I
uh,
didn't know. It's so good.
there's like there's a through line in this movie of her making this like this dish that is strata. Is that what it is? Did you know what she was making?
I had no idea, but I know that it had like 100 eggs in it.
It's so like eggy and vegetable-y, and she's making it for Christmas morning, and everyone's like, okay. And
I
it's
make
such
it
a
every year.
perfect arc because at the very end of the movie, when all the truth comes out and everyone's all over the place, she escapes to the kitchen and she's like, I'm going to find some normalcy. I'm gonna keep making this strata. I'm gonna get it out of the fridge, and it splatters all over her. It represents like she has hit rock bottom, and you can tell that's when the family actually starts to connect with her, because it's right after the really beautiful picture moment that I always rewind and watch again, like huge emotion followed by huge comedy.
Yeah.
And so you have this 1-2 punch of like, it's Christmas morning. She gives everyone a picture of Diane Keaton when she was younger. And she kind of thinks of it as like, oh, this is like a standard Christmas present. I should give this to everyone because it was on Everett's desk and this seems like the right thing to do. And everyone is like so deeply emotionally touched by that because they realize like she had these Christmas presents the whole time. Like this was in her the whole time. And we've been so bitchy to her. And so
And also too, the realization that all the family has of just like, oh my God, mom's dying.
yeah,
This is
yes.
so pertinent and poignant right now. And she's just like, I just got you a nice picture. Beep boop. I'm gonna go off to the
She doesn't
kitchen.
even realize. Yeah.
Doesn't even
And
realize what
then
she did.
and then it becomes like pure slapstick. They're chasing each other around the house. The Amy and Meredith and Sybil are all literally falling over each other in the kitchen. They're laughing, and then um, it kind of comes to a head when Everett realizes like he doesn't even love Meredith, and then he runs after her sister, which
And
is
everyone's
totally
okay with it.
fine and a
Everyone's
normal thing
totally
to
fine.
do. And Meredith goes and washes her hair and gets in bed with his brother.
With her egg shirt still fucking on. Like, gross.
Oh my God, that shirt gets so disgusting over the course of this movie. There's so much shit on it.
And she's still wearing it. Like,
Yeah.
gross. Put
She's
on a t-shirt.
she's learning to let loose. The hair is down, the bun is no more, never to be seen again. Why not wear a gross shirt?
She packed so many clothes to come to
Mm-hmm.
this 24-hour Christmas extravaganza. Put
Mm.
on a different top.
Can we just sorry, like we're going so out of order. I'm gonna tell you like the movie stats, but can we just talk about this house real quick? We've covered Nancy Meyers and Nora Ephron movies. Like we talked about The Parent Trap. We talked about Harry and Sally, When Harry Met Sally, and how like the set design always feels like so lived in. I think that also shows up in this movie in a way, and it
100%.
contributes to the story. I love it when like the set is helping to tell the story just as much as the actors and the script is. So like this house feels, first of all, huge. This is a great house. I would steal it.
Yep.
Second of all, like it feels like they have lived there for 30 years. Like you can see like random ass like family mementos on the wall. Like the set decoration is top notch in this.
That was the right choice to have a fully relaxed, lived-in family, have a house
Mm-hmm.
that's like that, because I kept looking in the backgrounds of like, oh, that's really neat. There's a bunch of weird shit over there. It feels not like put together or staged. It just feels like they're just filming in a house.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like you said, that this family's lived in for 30 plus years probably. And
I
it's the same big house feel of like Home Alone kind of a
mm-hmm,
thing. There's like
mm-hmm.
100 rooms. All the kids have their own room. Um, but yeah, they've been there for so long, and it's been a while since they've been back to their own room. They're like hitting their heads on the ceilings. I thought that was a nice touch. It was low ceilings, that kind of stuff. It just felt like not drab, but like it was like warm tones,
Cozy.
cozy was exactly the vibe. And that's the
Yeah.
family. The family is cozy and relaxed and just comfortable.
I listened to another podcast called This Had Oscar Buzz. I can't remember if I brought it up on this one before,
Hmm.
but it's essentially it is a podcast where it talks about movies that people thought might be in the running for an Oscar nomination,
Was
but it
this one?
ultimately didn't. Well, listen, it ultimately like didn't happen. And weirdly, they did an episode on the Family Stone, and you'd think like with such a stacked cast, like maybe Sarah Jessica Parker was being talked about. She gets like a Golden Globe nomination. Diane Keaton has like the emotional arc in this, but they also talked about like the craft categories for this this movie too. So you get like production design Oscars, you get like hair and makeup Oscars, you get costuming Oscars. And you think about this movie, like it's small, it's never going to be nominated for any of those things, but all of those things help to tell the story in a way. We talk about like the hair in this movie and how
Oh
like
God.
it really draws the line between like strict business Meredith and this laid back Stone family and how that evolves over the movie. The same thing is happening with the costume. She literally walks into the house wearing heels and a business suit, and everyone else is wearing like sweatpants and these really large
Yeah.
chunky sweaters.
Yeah.
And again, like the production design, this whole large set of this house that we're living in feels so realistic and lived in. It's like you the house has chemistry just as much as the cast has chemistry with each
The
other.
house is a character in and of itself for sure. Rachel McAdams' hair is top tier. Her hair is immaculate in this
Like
movie.
her coming in with the laundry and the NPR tote bag should have won an Oscar on its own.
Yeah,
Like
it's like, oh, you
incredible.
can tell she's the sibling, probably the younger sibling who doesn't quite have it all together.
She's the
And
baby of the family, but she's not afraid to be a little sassy and tell it like it is.
yeah, I like I wish each character kind of got a little bit more of their own kind of introduction, kind of like that, or a little bit more background. The one that I got the least from was, I think, maybe the middle kid, Susanna.
I think
Um,
she's the oldest.
oh.
She's the oldest girl. So yeah, I don't know where the lineup is here.
Didn't get too much from her other than that, like, she has a husband and a baby on the way, and he'll be here Christmas morning, and like that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Same kind of with Thad and Patrick. Other than just like they're the gay couple and they're really cool, and which okay, back up. Let's go back here. As soon as the movie starts and it's kind of doing all its thing, Ryan mentions it's like, oh, I really like this because it is a diverse slice of life American cast.
Mm-hmm.
You got gay representation, black and deaf, and I was like, oh yeah, you're right. That's like normal things to talk about and show in movies and TV in
Mm-hmm.
2023, 2005. Like that must have been just enormously groundbreaking.
It is kind of crazy, yeah. And I like how they deal with it in the movie where like Sarah Jessica Parker comes in and like she kind of doesn't know what to do with any of that. Like she's like yelling at Thad because she thinks that talking louder will help him to hear her better. And
Yeah.
he's like, why is she yelling?
Oh my God, it's the worst. And like that is the first of many cringe moments with her. And it's just like, you can tell she's not well versed. She went to private school. She went to
she
like a
just
private college, and
she doesn't know how to relate to people.
yeah. And that's
And
her ultimate downfall.
yeah, that is a flaw that this family will not accept, and the penalty is death. Um, let me give you some film stats for this bad boy. The Family Stone, released in December of 2005, Christmas. Directed by Thomas Bezucha, who directed a few more films, but nothing major or huge that I had seen.
Wow.
Starring in alphabetical order, like the poster does in a crazy way. Claire Danes, Tyrone Giordano, Diane Keaton, Rachel McAdams, Dermot Mulroney, Craig T. Nelson, Sarah Jessica Parker, Elizabeth Reeser, Paul Schneider, Luke Wilson, and Brian White. So yeah, stacked cast.
Stacked.
To use your words there, especially in 2005. Like these people were popping. This is Sarah Jessica Parker,
Like
I think
at
in
the
the
height.
last season of Sex in the City.
Yeah.
And so a little behind the scenes, like she's trying to break away from that character and portray like a different type, which this definitely is. I've never actually seen a full episode of Sex in the City. What's your experience there?
I've seen most of them, and I saw like the first movie and most of the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I can see how it is kind of sort of a polar opposite characteristically, but she's still like a highfalutin woman from New York who wears, fancy shoes and the nice clothes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like she took like a half step away from her Sex in the City, Carrie Bradshaw days. So, but yeah, like 2005, she is flying high. You got Diane Keaton still just streaming, shooting through the sky.
A classic.
Luke Wilson is kind of on the up and up as well. Rachel McAdams just had Mean Girls the year
This
previous.
a year after Mean Girls, yeah.
Yeah, so like it was hard to have a miss with this cast.
Craig T. Nelson has The Incredibles this year. Like big,
Oh
big
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
big stuff. Yeah, they got Disney Powerhouse, the mouse backing them up.
Everyone's rich as hell.
He's like, "Don't worry, dinner's on me tonight. I got that mouse money." And Diane Keaton's like, "What are you talking about?" No, the cast is great. Like you said, they just wildly good chemistry. I wish I kind of wish they would have gotten a little more noms, like you said.
Yeah. If we're talking about like nominations and awards attention for this film, there was like some critical stuff. Sarah Jessica Parker got a Golden Globe nom for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy, which is, I don't want to say that's like the joke category, but like a lot of people shit on the comedy and musical categories of the
Yeah, for
Globe
sure.
because they kind
Yeah.
of don't mean anything.
Yep.
But it's fun. Good for her. And yeah, this movie made 92 million against a budget of 18. So bit of a hit.
Yeah, I mean that was back in the days when a lot of people would go to the movies Christmas Day. And
Yeah.
I imagine their Christmas Day sales numbers. Look at the analytics. We'll go through and we'll get Tark to look at it, and I imagine their Christmas Day numbers were big
Yeah.
because it's a
I mean,
Christmas movie on Christmas Day. You're gonna go see it.
a Christmas rom-com that has the word family in the title, like you are printing your own money at that point.
Pretty much, yeah. And you know what? It is safe for the whole family. It's a PG-13. There's hardly any kissing, if at all. There's no penetration. There's no F words or anything like that thrown around. So like, you bring the kids, bring them all.
The worst cursing is when Everett's trying to get the ring from Sybil to propose to Meredith, and she's like, "Tough shit."
Yeah. Or she, or a little bit more accusatory at the dinner scene when she explodes on Meredith and says, "God damn you!"
Yeah, yeah.
It's
A lot,
so
lot
good.
of swings in emotion in this family.
The dinner scene, I draw parallels to the dinner scene in Hereditary. So,
Like
It's-
explosions.
explosions, madness happening,
I am
tension.
your mother.
You little shit. Wipe that fucking face off your face.
I would love to see a version of the Family Stone that's like rated R for hard language, and you're going through the first hour of the movie and you're like, why is this rated R? And then there's like a 5-minute like avalanche of fucks during the dinner scene, and then it goes back to rom-com. Like they don't even say anything about it.
And then like there are sex scenes, and it is 50 Shades of Grey, and it is just like, oh
No,
I wasn't expecting that.
No.
Mark Brandanowitz in the back of the ambulance.
Mark Brandanowitz, great guy in this.
He's so likable. This was like just before or during the first season of Parks and Rec.
No, this is like first season of The Office. So Parks and Rec comes in like 2009 ish.
Yeah, he's still a nobody.
Yeah, he's a
baby.
He's popping up. Let me kind of cover some last minute notes, and then we'll get into some end games. So this is just notes as I'm watching the movie, the Rachel McAdams entrance. No one has ever been more stressed out or socially awkward than Sarah Jessica Parker in this movie. This is about a family who sucks. This is like this is a movie about who sleeps where on family vacations, except the parents are cool. So it's okay to sleep with your partner.
Everyone's 40. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah. No people have ever had less chemistry than Meredith and Everett. We're all going to be down here talking about you. This is a movie about people who don't know how to tell a story. This is a movie about people who don't know how to play charades. Meredith saying that she doesn't care that Amy likes her, and Amy just like taking a sip and being like, "Oh, of course you do." I've used that GIF so many times in so
Oh,
many situations.
that's a good one.
Um, Everett is the Andy Bernard GIF where he's like, every little boy dreams about his fairy tale wedding, because Everett's obsessed with getting married in this. Is it normal to buy a ring the day before you propose?
No.
That's psycho behavior, right?
That is psycho behavior. He is, like I said, he's the worst character in this entire movie. He's the
Him,
villain.
him, like asking Julie to try on the ring as if
Uh-uh.
that makes any sense. He is shameless.
I was half expecting him when he's like saying bye to Julie at her room or whatever at the end, and she like goes to close the door. I was half expecting him to like force his way in.
Oh
And
my
it was gonna
god.
be like, oh, it's so romantic. But it was
There's
gonna be like,
weird tension there.
yeah, it was just like, oh, this is almost getting uncomfortable. But then he goes away.
Yeah.
So phew.
How do you, Justin, how does your family open Christmas presents on Christmas morning?
We've tried several different methods, but I think largely what we do is we go around in a circle. So usually my sister hands out all the presents to everyone, and everyone has a pile next to them. And then
Hmm.
it's like mom goes, dad goes, sister like, and we go in a circle that way. You open one. That's how you do it.
That's the correct way to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that everyone can appreciate. Families that open all at once and no one knows what's happening should go to jail.
Garbage people, trash pandas. Yeah.
Okay. Give me some final thoughts on the movie and then I will introduce our end game here.
Great. I didn't hate this movie. I'm not in the other. I can see how this movie is divisive. But I wasn't divided by it.
Wow.
I don't know if it has high rewatchability. Maybe. I'm going to say mid to mid maybe of rewatchability.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Because of just like the shock of just like, oh my god, she is the worst person in the world, and she just cannot stop putting her foot in her mouth. This is uncomfortable.
It's a
But
cringe comedy movie. Yeah.
it's very cringy comedy. But like everyone looks good. Everyone looks good in this movie.
Mhm.
There's not a bad person to set your eyes on. And hey man, um um it
We're
was
gonna watch this movie for Pride Week, Pride Month next year.
that's right. I mean, you know what? You can put this into the by category of movies of just like
We
everybody can't get it.
let's talk
Um,
about it.
but yeah, ultimately has a wild resolution.
Mhm.
Everyone's just okay with weird shit happening of just like, yeah, man, you don't love her. And then wait, where are you going? You're going after her sister? You're not even going to say, okay, all right.
It's every cliche Hallmark movie that everyone makes fun of.
At the
Trying to
end,
be a serious movie.
it gets shoehorned in of just like, I must chase after her, all that kind of stuff. That part is kind of like bleh, lame. But I think it was a good movie. I'm gonna give it 7 out of 10 um, snowflake ornaments.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's nice. We, we forgot to mention this is our second Christmas miniseries. So last year you had Gremlins, and then I had A Christmas Story. What is your current like Christmas pantheon of movies? Like, what are the movies on rotation in your house during Christmas?
So obviously it's changed a little bit. With
Since the
having
pandemic.
the pandemic, the state of the world, that kind of thing. No, having a 2-year-old is different. We're slowly introducing her into some of the Christmas classics. We watch a bunch of Disney Plus in the morning of like Christmas specials, like Mickey Mouse and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
She's not like uh, uh, doesn't have the patience or attention span for a full-fledged movie.
Mhm.
An hour and a half jaunt is not her bag. She wants the 20-minute, 30-minute episodes of something, and
These
she's done.
kids today and their screens.
My child will not be an iPad goblin.
Good for
Mark
you.
my words.
Well,
But yeah, so like we haven't done any of the class. We might try like the classic Grinch from like '63, the
the
cartoon,
cartoon.
or the Jim Carrey. We're gonna do like a little experiment. We're gonna show all three iterations of the Grinch, the Dr. Seuss from the '60s, the Jim Carrey from the 2000s, and then I think from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, like the DreamWorks animation studio came out with
Yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch. See
I'm
which one vibes with her.
I'm interested to see how she vibes with the Jim Carrey one, because that movie
And be terrifying.
is incredible, but also insane.
Yeah. But she might like it. Who knows? But like
Yeah.
staples are Peanuts and Garfield. Yeah,
Aw.
just the classic stuff. But
Do
yeah,
they have like Garfield cartoon Christmas specials?
yeah, we have the DVD of like I think it's Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas, and then we have like all of the holiday specials for Peanuts,
Mm.
Charlie Brown, and all that. So kid loves those. Those are great. But yeah, another one that is definitely on the list that I usually try to watch almost every year, if I can, is the movie that we're going to talk about in the next couple of weeks for our next episode.
Mm.
It's going to
We'll
be
tease
great.
it. We'll tease it at the end. We'll tease
Yeah.
it at the end.
What's on your list, Joe? What do you always watch around the holidays? What do you have to watch?
I love this movie. My family likes Elf. We're a big Elf family.
Mhm.
We also, there's like weird traditions that we have between like Christmas and New Year's where we'll attempt to watch like all three extended editions of the Lord of the Rings
Yeah.
around that time too. And then like movies that are like deep in our childhood, like randomly The Last of the Mohicans, the Daniel Day-Lewis movie.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. We'll try and watch that too. It's just I don't know how that became a tradition. It has nothing to do with Christmas. But we'll have to cover that one on this podcast.
Yeah,
Have you
because
seen
I've
that
never
one
seen,
before?
never saw it.
Oh, it's a good one.
I
It's
do
so
remember.
violent.
I do. Oh, I bet. Yeah, you guys were big into violent movies. That like these kids shouldn't be watching these kind of historical, epic, violent movies.
Yeah, it's fine. It really happened.
It's fine. Yeah, if it's rooted in truth, like it's fine. Um, uh, yeah, like ones that I always loved watching in years past that we're eventually going to get back into is Elf. Is the holiday.
Mm.
I love watching that one. Um, Polar Express. I think we tried showing her that one last year, and she's just like, "What?"
That one's weird, scary in a way.
Yeah, maybe we'll try that again this year. She might be into it, but
Mhm.
I always love that one. And then the Grinch, of course. The Grinch, of course.
You gonna sprinkle a little Muppets Christmas Carol on there?
Yes,
at some point?
absolutely, definitely get that in there as well.
Very nice.
Yeah, gotta terrify the kid at the very end, with the Ghost of Christmas Past, or future. Even the Ghost of Christmas Past is also kind of scary too.
It's like the little floating candle child.
Yeah, don't like it.
I don't like any of them. Tell me a little bit about what you're drinking tonight.
Yes. This was. I'll tell you how I came up with it. So the first thing that jumped into my mind was I want to make something with egg in it, with egg white specifically. So that's going to make it a sour. I wanted to make a sour beverage, which also plays into some of the themes of just like bitterness, the family kind of coming to a head, but also too just like these couples, they're swingers. They're just swapping partners like it ain't no damn thing.
You put goddamn pineapple in your drink, didn't you?
I sure did. This is a swinger sour, is what I'm calling it. It is 4 ounces pineapple juice, 1 1/4 ounce Campari, an ounce of vodka, half ounce of lemon juice, 1/4 ounce of maple syrup, and an egg white shaken. Drip some bitters on top because they're all just bitter at each other, and then orange and lemon, but like they're like swapped, they're 69ing through a thing, and it's just wild.
I don't need all the details, Justin.
I'm just telling you.
That sounds incredible and so layered. How does it taste?
It's so good. Like I said at the top, like this is probably one of my favorites that I've made. It's
Nice.
so refreshing and bitter and delicious.
We'll add it to the coffee table book that we will eventually publish.
Oh my God, we should.
Yeah. I've got a little pink drink here that is about a third gin, quarter maraschino liqueur, a dash of lime juice, top with some club soda, add a Luxardo cherry, and then a dash of cranberry juice for color because it looks like nothing if you don't do that. And I'm calling it the Christmas cherry in honor of the cherry
Amy.
that was popped in this movie.
Yeah, it's good on you, Amy.
Yeah, I went back and forth on that title because I was like, how sexual can this sound? I don't want it to be like full on like Amy's cherry.
Nope. Yeah, don't give any ownership to it. Just put Christ in the title.
Put Christ back into Christmas cherry.
Yeah, that's right. Love it. Delicious beverages, by the way. That sounds delightful.
It is nice. It is nice. Justin, are you ready to play a little game?
I am.
Why don't you kick us off?
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, get on your feet. Get ready for Should They Go to Jail? That's right. Now give it up for your host, Joe Murphy.
Eagle-eyed listeners and watchers will realize that that's the same video and soundtrack that we did from our Parent Trap episode, but I added jingle bells and snow.
That's right, folks. Everyone's favorite game show is back. Should They Go to Jail? Christmas Spirit Edition.
Ooh.
Everyone in the family stone is guilty of something.
Ooh.
But are they guilty enough to be tried and convicted as a danger to the public and be locked up? You are judge, jury, and executioner this week on Should They Go to Jail? Christmas Spirit Edition. Here are the rules. I'll say a character from the movie as well as what their most egregious crimes are. And you will tell me if they should be arrested and imprisoned immediately or if they should walk free. Do you got it?
Got it.
There's no winners or losers in this game except for the ones that go to the clink.
Got it. It's jail or no jail. Got it.
Jail or no jail with your host, Howie Mandel.
It would.
Here we go. I'm kind of ordering them in order of like less crime to more crime. You'll see.
Mm-hmm.
First we have Susanna. The oldest Stone daughter actually seems perfectly normal and nice, but we don't get to know her that well. She might be hiding something. Should she go to jail just to be safe?
I think if the husband didn't show up at the end, I think maybe, because it is kind of like, what's going on there? Like if he didn't show up, be like, oh, he got tied up at work. We'll see him next time. Like, oh, she definitely killed him, you know?
Or did she murder him?
Or did she murder him? I think she gets off scot-free because by the saving grace that that he shows up on Christmas morning.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. We're going to have to examine that answer in therapy. Okay. Next, Thad and Patrick, who I have lumped together. They are nice and cool and looking to adopt a baby, but they choose to stay at the inn instead of staying at the massive, fabulous family house. Should they go to jail?
No. Obviously, they're both affluent, wealthy, gay couple. Like, don't stay in the house. Like, it's not bad. Did you see that inn? That place looks amazing. I bet they have fantastic brunch.
Yeah, they they made the right choice here.
Yeah, they make their own croissant in-house. Like, it's amazing. So they get off.
Nice. All right, next we have Brad. Brad seems extremely nice to everyone in the film, but he gives Amy a large snow globe as a Christmas present and also doesn't bring a present for anyone else. Should he go to jail?
Yeah, kind of stalkery vibes, right? And driving an ambulance is kind of like the perfect kind of cover. He's hiding something.
Hmm.
They didn't show the back of the ambulance, only he's kind of sitting in it. There's probably a body back there.
Yeah.
Just to be safe, let's take Brandanowitz in.
Okay. 5 years minimum just to be safe. All right.
Just to be safe. I love it.
Next, we have Elizabeth. Elizabeth is Susanna's daughter, and
Mm.
she steals Meredith's expensive heels and breaks them 5 minutes after meeting her. Should she go to juvie?
Yeah, she's 8 years old or whatever, 8, maybe 10 at the most. She should know better. Like, don't take people's stuff. What's wrong with you? Go to jail.
Yeah, we'll let the system reshape her into something productive. Okay. All right. Next on our list of potential convicts, John. John is a blink and you miss it character. He is married to Susanna, and he's absent for most of the movie. Is he a loving partner and father, or a scummy cheater? And most importantly, should he go to jail?
Yeah, the circumstances of him not being there, suspicious.
It's
Absolutely.
weird.
It's very suspicious. Like when everybody else is there, like what are you doing that's so important? Did they
Who is
say?
he?
Did they say? Like, who do you think
No,
you are, mister? Yeah,
no.
lock him
She's
away.
talking to him on the phone at one point, so he's got a cell phone.
Late at
Suspicious.
night, like,
Yeah,
can you say side piece? Like, what's going on?
jail. Okay,
Jail,
I
straight
agree.
to jail.
All right. Moving on. Ben. Ben is maybe the most normal major character in the film, but he does openly flirt with his brother's girlfriend by telling her about a dream he had of her, and he smokes pot on screen. Should he go to jail?
He's gonna go to jail on a technicality of carrying. He's always holding on his person some amount of weed. They're gonna nail him to the wall for that. His
Hmm.
offenses that you brought up, I don't think they're as offensive because his dream was a dopey, like, stoner dream, harmless. If he said that she was like a maid cleaning his fans or stuff, that's weird. Don't say that to a person you just met, but he's like, "I had a dream about you and you were shoveling snow." Oh, but he's definitely going to jail, for holding a ton of weed on his person, which I don't agree with. Decriminalize weed, fight the cops, ACAB, do it.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. All right. Kelly. Kelly, the patriarch of the Stone family, appears to be the most level headed one, but can also have weird outbursts that maybe don't suit the situation. Should he go to jail?
He is the soft side of the Velcro that holds this family together. Um, he's got a soft exterior, a lovable teddy bear kind of approachableness to him. I don't think his outbursts are unwarranted or over the top. He's not going to jail. He's a free man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on the list, we have Julie. Julie is Meredith's sister. She almost immediately starts flirting with Everett the second she meets him. She agrees to try on her sister's potential engagement ring, and she stood out like a white sore thumb on whatever island she was on to watch a totem pole getting erected. Should she go to jail?
For her white privilege, probably. But I think she is the most sane one. We're not going to victim shame. We don't do that here. He forced himself upon her to put that ring on her. She was saying, "No, I don't want to do that." And he still did it anyway. So she's not going to jail.
Yeah, I give them 2 years.
Mhm.
Okay. Next on our list is Meredith. Meredith could be considered the most blameless character in this entire film, but she also clearly needs to get with the times and learn how to talk to people like a normal person. She also steals Amy's bedroom. Is that enough to send her to jail?
Absolutely. Like, as soon as they pull up, she should have just been hauled away. Surely Brandanowitz has connections with someone in the city because she sucks. She's the worst, and she's only making this comfortable family more uncomfortable. Like, absolutely not. You can't compromise and say like I'm the guest. Clearly, I should be sleeping on the couch. It's no big deal, Amy. Let this be my olive branch. But no, she sticks her foot in her mouth again, and she's the worst. Go to jail.
Interesting. All right.
Think about what
Meredith
you've
is
done.
in jail for life.
For life, without parole.
We're getting down to the final three here. Next, we have Sybil. All right, now here's where we get serious. Sybil has cancer, and she clearly cares about her family being happy, but she also absolutely enables and maybe even encourages the family's whole entitled bit. And she gets weirdly mad about the coffee. Should she go to jail?
She's dying. She doesn't have to go to jail. She gets the pass of like,
Yeah.
I have cancer. You can't send me to jail. You're right, Diane Keaton. I'm not going to send you to jail. Your outbursts, sure, they're warranted. She is the prickly side of the Velcro to Craig T. Nelson's soft side that's holding the family together. She's a little prickly. She has her nuance. She wants to have fresh coffee. Like, who doesn't? You know, with a house full of 15 people, keep coffee on the pot. What are you doing? Send Meredith to jail again. Do a double action for that thing. And she didn't know that Everett was allergic to mushrooms. Like, what is your problem?
Has anyone ever made this Velcro metaphor before? Because I am loving it.
No.
You should write this down.
Patent pending. Yeah.
All right. We're almost done. Amy. Amy is maybe more mean in this movie than Rachel McAdams is in the actual movie Mean Girls. She brings her laundry home for Christmas, but she does appear to come around on Meredith in the end. Is she just snarky and protective of her siblings and doesn't like anything to change? Or is she way over the top and should she go to jail?
All right, this is a split decision. It's going to be a split jury. It's a hanging Chad kind of a thing. They're not sure what to do with her, but she is cunning enough. She's going to escape and she's going to get off scot-free. However, she is the youngest. That automatically gives her a disadvantage. All youngest children are little gremlins at some point. In a big family like this, they act out. They, have their problems. She's doing her laundry. That's not a big deal. But she's standing up for herself. She's standing up for her family. I get it. And also, she supports National Public Radio. And, we love that. We love that for her.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we love Rachel McAdams. She's great.
She is Rachel McAdams. Everyone loves her.
All right. The last one, and you knew it would be Everett. Everett is the devil incarnate. He is absolutely the villain of this movie. He does not appear to like his girlfriend at all. He hangs Meredith out to dry the second they enter the house, gaslights her into thinking that he was never going to propose to her, and immediately drops her for her sister the second Julie shows up. How long should Everett go to jail?
He should go to jail on like his minor offenses just immediately and then be let out only for them to pull the rug from under them and be like, get back here, you scoundrel. You're back in jail. You're serving the double life sentence alongside Meredith. And you two crazy kids are going to work it out together in there. This man sucks. He is the worst. He is a gaslighting piece of shit, indecisive, bad hair. He plays the same character every time. And now I'm attacking the actor. That's not fair. Everett, the character, he's a terrible. Is he the oldest brother? Probably, right?
Yeah.
He's the oldest. He should know better. He should have his shit together by now. He's clearly in his 40s. Like, what is your problem, my man? Straight to jail. No ifs, ands, or buts. It is high security, no visitors. No sunlight either. It is the worst form of punishment he gets.
Yeah. He does the thing where they walk in a circle every once a week.
Oh yeah, and then he eventually just wears down the concrete.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's got like a steel ball attached to his ankle. It's like really old fashioned.
So old fashioned. But for him, it's not, because he has it coming to him.
Justin, thank you for your service to this community and ensuring that these dangerous people remain behind bars as long as possible.
Yes. You leave these nice families alone, people. You get out.
That was Should They Go to Jail Christmas Spirited Edition. We look forward to playing the next time.
That's right. Great. I had fun with this. This is This was a delight. I enjoyed myself watching it.
Christmas.
It's Christmas. You're not going to give me a dud. It was silly, over the top, cringeworthy, sad at times. But I mean, everyone comes away the better for it. I don't think it's justified in a lot of senses, but
Do you think Ryan shares all your feelings on this movie?
oh
Did
yeah,
you guys
100%.
disagree on anything?
No. We shared a lot of the same sentiments of like, what is happening here? How is no one saying anything about the madness that's happening between people just like meeting for the first time and running after them? Like, control your son. He is clearly out of control and he's going to hurt somebody emotionally, physically, send him to jail. So,
You guys are such a united front. It makes me happy about the future.
yes, we are Velcro. We are the Velcro together.
Aww.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how we do it. I'm going to write that down.
All right. Well, that was the Family Stone. Thank you for participating in my yearly rewatch. I'm so glad we got to tie it into this podcast.
It makes so much sense that even though if you didn't know it, that's why you love this movie, because it reminds you of your own family.
No, shut up.
Coming home together for Christmas. Not saying that y'all are a bunch of narcissists and protectors, but it's just that the homey feeling of like, I'm coming back to my family home and it feels good.
No, most of my family can't stand this movie, which I think is a good sign.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, you guys are not.
Tell me a little bit more about what's happening in the back half of this Christmas miniseries.
Back half of Christmas, true to form. Last year we did A Christmas Story was your pick, and then we did Gremlins, which was mine, which is kind of adjacent to like horror, but it's still a through and through Christmas movie. Gonna do it again. We're gonna double dip. We're gonna watch Gremlins 2. No, we're gonna watch. We're watching a Christmas horror jaunt that I love so much ever since it came out, called Krampus. It's got Toni Collette, and it's fucking phenomenal.
I am very excited for the cast of this movie. I know that it's loaded. This came out relatively recently, right?
It's like 2014, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a Halloween Horror Nights haunted house 1 year in Orlando at Universal Studios, and it was awesome. So I'll talk about that. But yeah, we're going back to scary Christmas movies, folks. It's gonna be great.
Very nice.
But yeah, we're gonna do that in the next week or so and load it up for the back half of the month, and then who knows what's gonna happen in January. I got some ideas, but I need to run it by Joe first.
Yeah, we probably need to get together on that. I think it's going to be another wild card month, or we'll figure out a theme.
Who knows? Maybe we just do TV from now on.
Oh my god.
Can you imagine? Anyway, great. Joe, take us away.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been the Uncultured Cinematic Universe. Thank you so much for coming along on this Christmas journey that totally wasn't about horrible people or horrible situations that they find themselves in. And we hope that you add the Family Stone to your yearly rewatch list.
Yep, 7 out of 10 meaningful snowflakes ornaments from over here, folks. Go watch it. Catch us wherever you get your pods casted, and at UCU Podcast on Instagram. Bye.
Bye.